said that she had a lot of stuff on the floor from the hotel. What kind of stuff? Furniture? Or?
No, it was glassware and crystalware and plates and
books.
No, there were a few books, not a lot of books, but few books, and I think I remember piles of towels and things, stuff like that, sheets, pillowcases, stuff like that.
Well, we know she had a big steamer truck too.
Yeah, well, yeah, my mother always wanted to go through that. My mother liked antiques. Yeah, my mother was always, she was a junk collector. And if you want to know kind of I got her junk. But as I recall, this place was totally furnished, even when, and I don't think anything ever left except, like I mentioned, that one chair. And
I was going to ask you, do you have any memories of, can you talk about any memories of there being any kind of a sale, like a yard sale kind of thing?
No, but I think my mother mentioned it one time, but I can't remember. I think my mother mentioned when the Colonial Games took over, my mother mentioned that.
Do you have anything that was given to you by Sarah or Hazel?
Yeah, we have one cruet set from the dining room, and I'm thinking about donating it back.
What does it look like? Does it look different?
Exactly. It's just like yours, except the handle's a little different. The bases are all the same, basically, but the handles are, my handle's got a little filigree in the curved part, the top part.
What about those apothecary jars?
Oh, yeah. Those weren't original to here. There was a pharmacy or something that went broke.
In Georgetown? In
Georgetown, and my mother ended up with a bunch of those. Either Hazel got them and my mother ended up with them, and now I have them, or because I have some from an old pharmacy in Rifle, Colorado also that my mother got. But some of them, there are about 4 or 5 that came from here that my mother got from Hazel, and the rest are from a little pharmacy in Rifle. But I think Hazel just got those when there was a drugstore or something here that either closed or something. And my mother.
So you don't have any real knowledge of stuff she sold from the
house? No. I like I said earlier, if you talk to the Lowrys, they might know, because they did a really good job of taking care of her, and so.
Well, it sounds like she was fairly protective of the stuff.
Yeah, I think like we were talking. As far as I know, that chair was the only thing that left here, and it's still in town. So. You might get it back.
In your earliest recollection of the hotel, was there a tennis court here then?
No. I wouldn't remember. I would have remembered a tennis court. I don't know where you did put it.
According to newspapers, she put in a tennis court at one time.
Hazel did.
Well, Sarah did.
Sarah did.
So I was just wondering if it was still around.
No, I think I'd have remembered that. God, I wish, see if my grandmother was still alive, we could ask all this stuff. But I wasn't really interested then.
Do you remember what the courtyard looked like?
Where you park now, you mean?
Well, this inner walled.
Well, yeah, I remember there was. I thought it had a surface though, like you walked on. It wasn't dirt, as I recall. Sure. You might dig down and see if there's some tile under there or something. I don't know.
There was
maybe it was brick.
Garden room. What do you remember about?
Well, the garden. I remember there was a way to get out there. I remember going out there, and I can't remember how we got out there and out towards the sunroom. I can't remember how we got out there, but I remember going out there. And when I came here with my cousin about 5 years ago, you had just moved some stuff out there. You were just starting to use that building that's further out. What's that? Is that the sunroom now, where we came in?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What was inside of it? Plants?
No, it was just open. She had stuff stored out there. She had boxes of stuff. Don't ask me what was in the boxes. Mm-hmm. But, as I recall, there were more windows. I think there were more windows. It was more like, as I recall, it was more like a sunroom than just a building. And he might have even grown vegetables out there. I don't know whether it was here when Louis Dupuy.
Any plantings, particularly flowers?
No, she never took care of anything like that. But he might have done something like that.
Do you remember plants inside? the building at all?
No.
House plants or anything?
No, I think she was much into the house plant thing. I don't remember that. I'd have to ask my sister. She was a little older when we used to come up here.
Did you, now when you came in, did you use the front
Front
doors?
door. Always use the front door, yeah.
You don't remember the back building?
I don't remember doing that, no. But I'm sure it was there, you know.
But you didn't go out and play or anything
No.
like that?
We played on the balcony, that was it. I probably saw the building back there, but it didn't impress me, so, you know. The basement impressed me and the balcony and the dog.
Was the furnace, did they use the furnace?
They had,
Or was they, because we've seen pictures of little wood stoves
Yeah.
in rooms.
yeah,
And we were trying to figure out which heating system they were using.
I don't think that went upstairs, the heat from those,
The
from the furnace. I think the rooms were individually heated,
With stoves.
yeah. Now I can't, I'm trying to think of Aunt Hazel's room when she was upstairs. Can't remember,
Can't remember.
you know. But I remember when I was here several years ago, that furnace, I remember downstairs, and that furnace was a wreck. And they were putting in the new furnace. And I don't know, in the 90s, I guess.
Louis, of course, was promoting the steam heat in every room that was
Yeah.
so wonderful, and we thought it odd that Mrs. Burkholder turned around and put stoves in the rooms.
Well, and maybe what happened was maybe the pipes rusted or something, and she didn't want to replace them. It would have been sort of hard to replace pipes in this building.
Well, Sarah had already replaced the pipes back just a few years after she got the hotel.
Yeah,
It had to be reworked.
yeah,
New boiler, new pipes.
yeah. And maybe they just didn't do the whole thing after she got, you know, or
Well,
maybe,
that would have been probably in the early 1900s, long before
yeah,
Hazel started operating the hotel.
right,
And by that time, they would probably wore out also.
yeah. Because I know that furnace, the original furnace they were still using until, you know, not too many years ago. But I don't know how far the heat went, whether it went up to the upper level, upstairs or not. I have no idea. Because we would come here in the winter, and I don't think we were cold, so either she had some way to heat upstairs and in here, in the apartment, or I don't know. But obviously, it wasn't cold.
You visited Hazel, but did you ever stay overnight? Did you stay
No.
here?
Never stayed here,
You never did.
no.
It's a long way to come for an hour.
Well, we'd stop by on the way to Denver. And we would stay at my aunt's house in Denver, and then my aunt and uncle.
Did you ever eat here?
No.
No.
No. Not as far as I know. I
So
don't.
she may not have.
We may have had a sandwich. I can't remember, but
But Hazel wasn't cooking down here. You don't
no,
think?
I don't think. I think she might even have had a hot plate. What I'll do is I'll ask my sister. She might remember all this stuff. I know my cousin doesn't, because I know more about this place than my cousin. And my second cousin up in Greeley might. I'll ask Mary Elaine, because she was a lot younger than my grandmother, and I think she was 8 years younger. And I know she lived here for a while, and she was here in 1910. And so she might know a lot of this stuff. And she's still pretty sharp.
Do you know if Hazel took trips or went anywhere?
Yeah, I know she went to the World's Fair in 1904.
Where was that?
St. Louis. We've got postcards that she sent. Hazel and my grandmother sent postcards. And I think they went to the Chicago Exposition. And when was that? 1898? Yeah, 1898. I think they went to the Chicago Exposition. Because there was ore, silver and copper ore and stuff from the Waldorf mine that they took took a huge carload of it there. And it was really high-grade stuff, and they just threw it away after the exposition. And my uncle has got a really nice piece of copper ore from the Waldorf that he gave a matching piece to the Denver Museum, of which they don't have anymore. At least we couldn't find it. In fact, we couldn't even find it in the books where he'd given it.
Some of those samples went to the Fuel Museum in Chicago.
Yeah, right. But anyhow, he's got a piece underneath his coffee table up in South Dakota, and it says, this piece of chalcopyrite is about the same as one I sold to the Denver Museum, or the Colorado Natural History Museum. Colorado Museum of Natural History won it in 1915 or something. So I'm going to work on him, see maybe we can get that for up here in your courthouse.
But later in life, she didn't travel as far as you know, particularly?
No, as far as I know, she didn't. Because, and like I said, I didn't know she had a brother until I saw those photographs. So
She didn't, no one really talked
Yeah,
about him? Or,
right. Because like I was telling you, I don't know much about that side of the family. And because I just presumed that she was part of our family, and she wasn't part of our family.
Did she have a car?
Don't think so. She might have. That picture you have, that might have been her
Sarah
car.
Burkholder seemed to have had a very nice vehicle for the time.
Well, then I'm sure Hazel had one for a while.
But she didn't see
I
her
don't.
drive.
I don't remember. I think you could walk to most places here, can't you?
Was the train running when you were a kid?
No. The Argentine Central shut down, what, 1919, something like that? Yeah, it was about 1919 because the Buckley brothers got the scrap